Welcome to Conversations with Zaki Baruti with your host, Zaki Baruti. Like always, I want to first give a shout out to my biological family, as well as the Universal African Peoples Organization family, as well as Reverend Rice and the New Life Evangelistic Center. Just wanted to say keep up the great work, Reverend Rice. And for our audience, tonight we'll have a great program. I have a very powerful person that's going to be joining us, and in fact, he's with us right now. And that's Reverend Tommie Pierson, Senior with Greater St. Mark Family Church. Welcome to Conversations with Zaki. How you doing this evening?
I'm fine. My pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, great. In each of our programs for my guests, I always like to kind of give our audience a little information about the person who we're interviewing, their background and what have you. Would you just share some of your background growing up and anything that you'd like our public to know the person, Reverend Pierson?
All right. Well, I come to St. Louis when I was 16, turning 17 next month, January. And I was supposed to go back home, back to Tennessee, but decided not to go.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You said you was coming to St. Louis at 16 from where?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. What part of Tennessee?
Right out of Ripley, Tennessee.
Okay.
In Haywood County.
Okay.
And I was supposed to spend the Christmas holiday, but I decided that I was not going back. And my sister said, well, we can't take care of you. And I said, that's fine. I'll take care of myself. So 17, 18, 19, 20 of those years was spent pretty much on the street. A lot of times I was homeless, but...
oh, is that right?
Right.
Why you didn't want to go back to your hometown?
Because we lived on a farm, and you know, my people were sharecroppers.
Okay.
And I just didn't want no more of the farm. And I had enough.
I understand. Okay.
You know, sleeping on cardboard, but I sleep on cardboard to keep them going back down there.
Okay, which you did, as you mentioned,
right.
You were homeless for a little while.
Right. I worked at General Motors. I started there at age 17.
Okay.
I told them I was 19.
All right.
And I spent 32 years there. I've been retired for 20 years.
Okay.
But I got involved.
What did you do at General Motors?
I was assembly worker for the most part.
Okay.
Union rep at one point. And, you know, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Okay, then. And then you entered, when did you go into, you know, the ministry?
I went into ministry in 1972. And I started pastoring in 1977.
And how has that experience been as a minister?
Well, it's been quite an experience. You know, I spent a few of those years while I was working a job. I wasn't full-time. And then trying to learn a new role. Once I retired and went full-time, I got involved in community activities. And, you know, because the church was involved before I retired. We used to hold black union meetings at my church.
Okay.
Some of those guys' names you hear today, African American, got their start in the basement of my church at the time. So some moved out of town, and a couple of them have died. But our church has always been that kind of open door place for a meeting place for change.
So with that, in terms of you opening up the church for people who wanted to make change in our society, I know you have worn a lot of different hats in terms of not only being kind of involved in community, but you've been very involved in politics, political empowerment. What would you say to those who say that ministers should not be involved in politics? You know, you get that question, I mean, that comment sometimes.
Well, you know, people ask me, how do you balance being pastor and being an elected official, which is quite easily for me. Because I see pastoring as as one who represent people in the church realm. But as an elected official, I represent people on a state level, and they both have the same objective, and that is to make things better for people.
Okay, so with that said, and you had made mention of being an elected official, what positions have you been elected to?
Well, I was elected to the Riverview Garden School Board. I served there 7 years, and the Missouri House of Representatives, I served District 66 for 6 years. Just come out this past, at the end of this past year.
Okay then, and on the flip side of our break, we're going to kind of review some of your experiences and then get your analysis as to what is taking place in the political arena today.
Okay.
So on the flip side.
In front of the 1411 Locust Building, we have the statue of the homeless Jesus. Neighbors don't want the homeless around. They want to do everything they can to drive them out of downtown. And I saw this happen firsthand. I'm Larry Rice, director of the New Life Evangelistic Center, how the system can actually create chaos and then want to blame it on the work of God. We have all these homeless people that have come forth and testified the fact that the police actually encouraged them to go and sleep between the 14th and 15th block on Locust prior to the cease and desist order taking effect at the New Life Evangelistic Center. They let them sleep out there for weeks, even months. And then once that order was given, they went out there with the police sweep and chased them all off. Well, now there may not be homeless people around there, but they're sure hurting, and they're in many different locations. We believe that it's very important that we can get back into this 1411 Locust Building as soon as possible. And that's why we have all different types of repairs that are taking place. The problem is if the city keeps adding to their list because they're trying to perpetually keep us out, then we're going to have to go to court with this whole issue. That's why I'm asking for, number one, your prayers, and you continue financial support so we can make the repairs. And number three, a legal process that's so absolutely essential at this time that's far beyond the 1411 Locust Building. It relates to groups all over and churches all over that want to reach out in response to the scriptures and let the light and love of the homeless Jesus, who said that foxes have holes and birds have nests, but he the Son of Man had nowhere to lay his head, to live through them. We're striving to do that at New Life Evangelistic Center. Even though the 1411 Locust Building is presently closed, we're doing everything we can to help homeless people. Some we're taking to Winsville, Missouri, getting them into hotel rooms where they're finding jobs right away. Others we're getting a wide range of training programs. We're helping them with literally hundreds and hundreds of Metrolink bus tickets so they can get out and find jobs and all different types of emergency supplies. And all this is possible because of those of you that are praying, caring, and sharing with the New Life Evangelistic Center. So please send your gift now to P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri 63166.
Hear this, you who trample the needy and do away with the poor of the land. Let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. You trample on the poor and force him to give you grain. Therefore, though you have built stone mansions, you will not live in them. Though you have planted lush vineyards, you will not drink their wine. For I know how many are your offenses and how great your sins. You oppress the righteous and take bribes, and you deprive the poor of justice in the courts. Seek good, not evil, that you may live. Then the Lord God Almighty will be with you, just as you say he is. Hate evil, love good.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti, and in studio with me is one of our leading community activists here in the St. Louis area as a minister, Reverend Tommie Pierson with the Greater St. Mark Family Church, and a former elected official serving 7 years on the Riverview Garden School Board, as well as a member of Missouri House of Representatives. How long were you in the Missouri House of Representatives?
I was there for 6 years.
For 6 years.
You know, they have an 8-year term.
Okay.
8 years, 2 years, every 2 years you have to run. But I didn't run for my last term.
And why you didn't run for your last term?
Because I ran for lieutenant governor.
Oh, you ran for a statewide position.
I ran for a statewide position. I thought it was, and I still think it's time for African Americans to run statewide and win. And I guess I got my inspiration from you because you ran for governor once years ago, and I never forgot that. I think we should hold those positions.
Well, I truly appreciate that, and since you made mention of that, I could probably say that in one of the editions of our newspaper, we had you on the front cover as a candidate for a lieutenant governor in 2016, right, along with some other people that we had encouraged to run statewide. Because and I'd like for you to comment on that and the church's role around the concept that as an organization, the Universal African Peoples Organization, we're pushing called proportionate political representation, which simply means that wherever percentage of the population we are, we should have that percentage of political power. But as you know, that's not a reality when in fact there's over 500,000 publicly elected positions in this country. And of that 500,000, black people only hold about 12 to 14,000, which is 2%, when we should have at least 66,000. There are no black governors, very few statewide elected officials, I think no more than 8. Do you know the number?
No, the number.
Yeah,
and
of the United States senators, out of 100, only 3 are black. So with that said, and in the state of Missouri, never in the history in the state of Missouri has there been anybody black elected to any statewide offices, and those statewide offices are?
Well, they're governor, lieutenant governor, treasurer, secretary of state, auditor,
and attorney general.
And attorney general.
Right. And never in the history, and this is supposed to be the show me state.
Right.
So we have to show the world that we ought to have some people who are people of color, especially in light of the fact that we pay taxes. So with that said, and I guess you're a shining example coming out of ministry, what would be your message to the faith community about being involved politically?
Well, if we really care for our people, then we must get involved. You either run yourself or you prepare somebody to run for those positions from your church. I mean, we live in a democracy, and if you don't participate, you get left off. You don't get your fair share. So I think that where we dominate, we should rule. We dominate in a lot of these municipalities, but we don't rule. We're starting more and more to take the leadership, but we should continue that because most of the violations that happen to us happens in these municipalities, and most of them we could rule because we're the dominant culture there, and so that's what I would say, that we need to get involved. We need to teach our young people that protest is all right, but protesting does not solve our problems. You got to run for these positions, get elected, and do what you need to do for yourself.
I appreciate that. In fact, that takes me back to, and I want to salute you, that you opened up your church many times to the various protesters during the Ferguson uprising. And one of the things that had disturbed me during that process was that you had in Ferguson, a city that was 67% black at the time of the murder of Mike Brown, yet you're on the city council, you only had 1 member.
Right.
And as a direct consequence of that, you had a police force of 53 officers, only 3 were black. So, you know, in essence, we are paying folks to
kill us
with our own tax dollars. So we have to, as you say, take it from the protest to political empowerment.
Right.
So with that said, and you know, St. Louis County has a number of municipalities. Mm-hmm. You live in one of the municipalities, right? And what municipality that you live in?
I live in Bellefontaine Neighbors. Bellefontaine Neighbors is 70% African American.
70% African American.
4 wards. They only control 1 ward.
Only 1 ward out of
and they got
4.
Right. They have 33 police officers, and not one of them is African American.
Oh, come on, Reverend. Come on.
Not one.
Come on, wait a minute. Let's go back over those statistics again. You're saying Bellefontaine Neighbors is 75% black. Did I hear you?
70%.
I mean 70%. You have 4, and it's divided into 4 wards.
4 wards. Each ward has 2 representatives.
2, so it's 6 members on the city council.
It's 8.
I mean 8, yeah. So, okay, 8. And of those 8, how many are black?
2.
2.
2 blacks control 1 ward.
Wow, and then you have a police force.
That is all white.
Of how many?
It's 30, I think it's 30 or 33 unless they've changed.
Wow, audience, are you hearing that? Are you feeling that? So with that said, what do you see your role in trying to change that?
Well, my role is to change it, and I'm going to change it because in April of next year I will be on the ballot for mayor of Bellefontaine.
Oh, you are? Okay,
I'll be on
then.
the ballot.
Well,
And,
I want to congratulate you on making it known that you will be on the ballot for mayor. Have you made a public announcement on that for Bellefontaine?
I have not. This would probably be the first public announcement that I've made. I mean, I can't not practice what I preach, because I preach while we dominate, we should rule. And I'm in a community where we dominate and we're not ruling. So I must do something about it myself.
Well, you know, again, I just want to congratulate you, first of all, for making that announcement on Conversations with Zaki Baruti.
Yeah.
And, of course, we'll do all what we can and encourage people, fair-minded people. There's a lot of fair-minded people that's of all races,
right,
that when they see these kinds of statistics, hopefully they will stand up and do the right thing and support a person that is for empowering people. So on that note, we're going to take another quick break, and then we'll be right back and with Conversations with Zaki Baruti.
Moving. Oh, they're disapproving. Keep them doggies moving. Right. Don't try to understand them. Just rope and throw and brand.
And so a friend and I slept in an abandoned house, and we got arrested.
Move 'em on, hit 'em up, hit 'em up, move 'em on, hit 'em up, raw high. Cut 'em out, ride 'em in, let 'em out, cut 'em out, ride 'em in, raw high.
May our Lord Jesus Christ himself and God our Father, who loved us and by his grace gave us eternal encouragement and good hope, encourage your hearts and strengthen you in every good deed and word.
I remember this picture when I was a child growing up of Daniel in the lion's den. All these lions are around Daniel, and there he is in the middle of the lion's den, but Daniel is looking up. Abraham Lincoln once said, how can anyone be an atheist when they look into the sky and at night and see all the stars and the wonders of God's glorious power? Well, look up right now. Don't look at the lions that are all around. Look at the mighty God. That's what I'm having to do at this particular moment. They're the lions. They're crouched. They're ready to jump on me. I want to destroy me. But no, greater is he who's in me than he that's in the world. So what do I got to do? I got to back up and I got to look up. And I want to encourage you to do the very same thing at this time. Do what Daniel did. Maybe you find yourself in the lion's den. Well, instead of continue to look at the lions, look up and behold the glory of the mighty God who goes on and on and on. So many universes that he has created. So much God is doing. So again, stop looking at the lions. Our word for today to you is this: look up and know that you're serving a great and mighty God.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti, and in studio with me is my good friend and colleague, a very powerful community activist and political leader, Reverend Tommie Pierson with Greater St. Mark Church, and a former a Missouri State representative and member of the Riverview Gardens School Board. And he has just announced, and we're so honored on the show, that he will be a candidate for mayor of the city of Bellefontaine Neighbors. And that election will be taking place in what year?
April of next year.
April of next year.
Yeah,
is that a
18.
partisan election or is that non-partisan?
It's nonpartisan.
It's nonpartisan, right. Okay. And so are you the only person that has announced is the incumbent mayor going to be running again?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm the only one that I know that's running.
How long has the mayor been in office? And we know that's a white mayor.
Right.
But how long has he been in office?
It will be 8 years in April.
8 years, okay. Mm-hmm. So we're looking for change. Now, in that you will be running, on what are the issues that you're looking to address as a candidate? Well,
number one, I mean, we're 70% of the population. That means that we pay 70% of the taxes. And 1% of that, if it's that much, come back to us through employment and what have you. All of the employees, except for two or three, are not African Americans.
Wait a minute. I mean, I'm sorry, you're just shocking me today.
Yeah.
In terms of of the city employees you're speaking of,
yeah, right.
All are non-black.
Absolutely.
Only 2 are black.
About 2 that I've seen.
But how many city employees are there?
I'm not sure. It's about 10, 12.
10 or 12. Wow.
But you do know that Bellefontaine Neighbors had a 50 ticket quota on 33 officers. And it got exposed on Channel 4.
Wait a minute, explain that again. What now?
They had a 50 ticket quota.
Okay, they had to
on
get
33 police officers, that they had to write 50 tickets a month.
Okay, the 33 police officers were mandated to write at least 50, I guess, traffic violation tickets?
Right. A month.
A month. And most of those traffic violation tickets would have been issued to people who look like you and I.
You couldn't get into court for us. You couldn't get in the courtroom for us.
Wow. And I guess that is a reflection, too, of what was some of the ills that were cited in the Ferguson Commission. Am I correct there?
Absolutely.
Wow. So here we are in the city of Bellefontaine Neighbors, 33 officers, not one is black. The city employees, over 10 or so in a small community, only 2 are black. But what is the population of Bellefontaine Neighbors?
It's right at 10,000.
About at 10,000. Yeah. Those of you who are listening in Bellefontaine Neighbors, you got to wake up, smell the coffee, and here you got somebody who's willing to help you wake up and smell the coffee to make a difference where we can get our tax dollars to work for us, right, as opposed to working for any other people. Any other issue that you wanted to address in Bellefontaine Neighbors?
Well, you know, Bellefontaine Neighbors is a great community. We've not gotten our fair share out of city government, and we don't get our fair share in terms of police protection. But by and large, it's a great city. And there just need to be some changes. There need to be people there who understand that this is a new day, the old ways are gone, and you know, we need to live and let live, and everybody be happy. The
housing stock in Bellefontaine is pretty good though too, right? I mean, you don't have any significant slum areas. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Okay then. On that note, we're going to take one other break, and then we'll be back with Conversations with Zaki.
Do you realize that the biggest slumlord in the city of St. Louis is the city of St. Louis? I'm Larry Rice, and I'm actually appalled over this. At a time that I'm seeing growing numbers of people ending up homeless, I'm seeing the St. Louis LRA, known as the Land Realization Authority, land banking more and more properties for the rich and the powerful. And I say for the rich and the powerful because if you try to get LRA property, what they're going to do is, first of all, they're going to go do major credit checks. They're going to want to not only see that you got the credit and availability to do it, they want to see the money in hand, and they want to see you finishing the project in 18 months. That all sounds well and good. But the problem is that LRA now has land banked over 12,000 properties, 3,000 vacant houses, actually destroying North St. Louis with vacant house after vacant house, and 9,000 vacant lots, costing just the St. Louis Forestry Department $5,200,000 a year just to mow all those lots twice, more than they spend on Tower Grove Park, Crondolite Park, Forest Park, the Forestry Division. So what are we going to do about this? Well, we have rallies every couple of weeks. I want you to call me and I'll tell you about the next one. I gather with about 150 homeless people and we're addressing this issue. You can call me at 314-421-3020. You can write me at P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166 if you're experiencing a similar problem. And as we rally, we're also sending a straight message to LRA and St. Louis City Hall that if you don't drop these heavy restrictions, you don't start engaging in homesteading programs that the poor and the needy and the homeless and the elderly can actually get into, we're going to be going during the next session to the state government and trying to do away with LRA if it just continues to land bank more and more property, refusing to allow a homesteading program to take place. We can get in and fix up these homes and actually get people in them and get them back on the tax rolls like they're supposed to. So I'm pretty upset about this. And I ask you to get involved also because it affects the lives of all of us. So again, you want more information, call us at 421-3020 or write me at P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri at 63166.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. And as we get ready to close out the show, in studio with me is Reverend Tommie Pierson, Greater St. Mark Family Church. You know, we've been talking about political empowerment and, you know, trying to make a change in our community. But I know you got to pastor the church. And are there any kinds of activities that the church in of itself will be conducting in the near future that you may want to invite people to come out?
Yes, Sunday, the 21st. At 10 o'clock, we will kick off our church's 40th year anniversary. And I've been there 40 years longer than any other pastor.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
But we will celebrate Sunday at 10 and then Sunday afternoon at 3. We got some exciting guests that'll be with us, and so come by and share with us.
Now, when you say come by, where would they be coming to so that people know?
9950 Glen Owen Drive, on the corner of Glen Owen and Chambers.
Okay, you hear that? 9950 Glen Owen, right at the corner of Glen Owen and Chambers. And you're inviting the entire millions of folks who's out here listening to you.
Right. We'll make room for you. Come on by.
Okay, then. Do you have a particular theme for your anniversary?
We do, but I don't want to mess with it.
Oh, you don't want to mess with it. Okay, then. All right, then. So, again, then, you know, as an organization also, so we want to encourage people, of course, to support your anniversary, support you when you began running for a mayor, but also the homeless situation. Can you briefly address that? You know, Reverend Rice has been working with the homeless. What are your thoughts about the closure of the New Life Evangelistic Center, real quick?
Well, I thought it was horrible because the Bible says that the homeless we will have with us always. So there's always a place and room for the homeless. I was homeless once, and so we need facilities to house the homeless, to give them a meal, to give them a place to sleep. And so and I thought the center, Evangelistic Center, was doing a great job. And I think if given the opportunity, they will continue to do that. But we'll never want to shut our hearts to the poor.
Yes, and those who did shut their hearts to the poor, you know, I'm quoted in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch as calling them demonic. I just have to call a spade a spade. That's a demonic spirit to do that against the homeless people. Now, for anybody who wants to contact you, how can they get in contact with you?
They can call me two ways, area code 314-388-1180, and they can call me at the same area code at 707-5328.
Okay, then, and on that note, again, we want to thank you for being in studio with us. You have been listening to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. Share with your friends and family that we come on every Saturday at 11 p.m. on Channel 24. God bless each and every one of you.